Hello guys, this is Oba FX Trading Academy and welcome once again to my YouTube channel where we do mostly the top-down analysis of different financial securities. And today I'm going to be looking at the forex currency pair GBP USD. We looked at this particular pair last week and I told us that GBP USD was coming downwards. And why did we come to that conclusion? That's because if I'm to concentrate, let me zoom in a bit and concentrate on this part of the chart. You can see that it has been making higher highs, higher lows, higher high, higher low. It's made a higher high, and the market is currently retracing. So where do I think it's retracing to? I told us that the perfect scenario would be for it to come make a third touch of this trend line and then continue upwards to this major resistance zone. So we're going to be looking at it closer to see if that's still what's going on. And then another thing that I use in buttressing my take or directional bias in the last video was the presence of this 1, 2, 3 candle. These three together is what we refer to as what an evening star, which is a strong bearish reversal chart pattern. So it still holds that this would likely push price downwards. And then finally, if I include my Fibonacci retracement tool, I'm just trying to go through some of the things I said in the last video. If I include my Fibonacci retracement tool, there's what I call the Fibonacci retracement golden zone, which is a zone between the 0.5 and 0.618 zone. So I believe the retracement is going to come into the zone and then make a third touch of this trend line before it continues upwards. So if you ask me, my directional bias is still bearish, even if generally GBP USD is bullish. So that's what we get to do on our monthly time frame. Aside mapping out our key zones, I try to get my directional bias, and as of now, my bias still remains bearish. So even if since the beginning of the month, I'm seeing buyers trying to come into the market, I still believe that sellers are going to push GBP USD down into this area before it starts going up. So then I go to the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, basically what I try to do is to see if I can get like a chart pattern or a candlestick pattern to work directly with. However, on the weekly time frame before now, we've seen that, or I've stated that this market was in a range for the longest of time. In other words, it was in a mini range. It was oscillating between this support zone and this resistance zone. Each candlestick here on the weekly time frame takes 1 week to form. So we can see that for every time price got to this support level, it was rejected, and most times it came back to this resistance level above. But most recently, it broke out of the support zone. And if you look at this rejection candles, for the first time in a long time, price was able to close beneath this support level. Hence, further supporting my initial take from the monthly time frame that price is going to come into this area before continuing upwards. Now, having that in mind, if I go to the line graph to see if I can get like a chart pattern to work with, there isn't really much to see here. So the next advisable thing to do would be to go to the daily time frame. So let's not forget our destination is still this area, and on the daily time frame, what do we see? So this takes us back to the point I made from my last video that GPUSD is coming down. Now, how do I mean? If I zoom in just like I've done now, then I can easily bring in my tools again. So if I place this here, this would be what a downward or bearish trend line. Then I can bring in my Fib tool again here. And even though I'm drawing my Fibonacci retracement tool independent of this former support zone now turned potential resistance zone, we can see that the area aligns perfectly with the Fibonacci retracement golden zone. So just to buttress again, GBPUSD is going to come into this area, I believe. But for it to do so, it's currently what? Retracing upwards. So I believe it's going to retrace into this area, make another touch of this trend line, and then push downwards before finally embarking in its ultimate direction, which is what? Bullish from what we saw on the monthly time frame. So this is my take on GBPUSD. This is the setup that I'll be working with. I hate making my charts look cumbersome, so let me remove this to make it a bit clearer. And now the reason I'm doing this is because I also believe that there are lots of people that trade on the daily time frame, and most times I get comments on my videos that I should try to take my analysis further down to for those that start their analysis on the daily time frame, not on the much lower time frames. I mean, so even though I'm not a big fan, but I understand that there are people that scalp, and there are also people who mainly they trade and start the analysis sometimes from the H4 time frame. So I'm just going to do that for the benefit of those people. But generally, this is the setup I'm looking at for GBPUSD. So I expect it to push up into this area and then come down. So what I'll be doing this week, I'll be focusing on selling GBP USD. So, but if I come down to the 4-hour time frame for orders, we can see that you have like a higher high, a higher low, and then the market has made a high and it is currently retracing. Why is it retracing? Because if you look at the setup now, it's from to do this, this is what the market has done, a higher high, there's a retracement, which means it's heading towards the direction, this destination that I had predicted earlier. So for those of you that trade in this much lower time frame, so if you come to the H1 time frame, you can see that BPUSD is heading upwards. But this upward movement is only a retracement of the ultimate bearish direction that we saw from the monthly time frame. So if it comes into this place, this distance between here and here is quite okay if you just want to make a few pips. So if you're trading, if this is how you trade, so this would be the little way I can help to guide you, so you can as well place your trend line here, and then on the you can see price is already coming downwards, and then on the touch of this trend line, or you can even include a fib too. So you can see that the Fibonacci retracement works every time. So if I were to scalp this particular market, or I want to use my itchy fingers to make sure that um, I buy this particular market. So all I have to do is include my fib to here. Let's adjust this. So this is the golden zone. We can already see that price is coming downward. So let me take this out. Once the market gets into this area, I can go to even the much lower time frames, maybe like the 15 minutes time frame. And once there's a change of trend, so this means the market will be making like a third touch of this trend line in this zone. So once there's a third touch of the trend line and I see bullish activities, then I can take my trade with stop loss around this area, and then my take profits, my target would be this area. So like I said, I seldom do stuffs like this. I'll be looking to wait patiently for price to come here, and then I can take my sell trades. So this is my simple analysis for GBP USD this new trading week. And so let's watch this closely, and you can always compare this with your own analysis if it makes sense. And if you are coming across this channel for the first time and you feel that what you've just seen is okay by way of analysis, I would advise that you subscribe for subsequent videos as I do this every week. And don't forget to like and share these videos with others so that they can gain from it as well. So thanks for watching and stopping by my channel, and do have a fruitful trading week ahead. Cheers.